And today we have a little bit of a Friday pump, Bitcoin and Ethereum back up. And this is off the news yesterday that BlackRock has filed for their spot Ethereum ETF on top of the multiple Bitcoin spot ETF filings that we have. But I want to ask the question, when XRP ETF? Now, many folks in the community aren't really familiar with what an ETF product is, and they think that this would allow for further manipulation of XRP, and it probably would under the current system and the way that our financial markets are traded. What I think changes, though, as we roll into the new system is you're seeing Basel III, Basel IV proposals also coming out now, too, that show us a transition to not so much fluff, or i.e. not so much paper derivatives that represent, the same claims to a piece of gold or silver represented 100 times for 1 ounce, right? And so this is the type of discrepancy and distortion and manipulation that we've seen in the last system. And going forward, my prayer is that we can have a little bit more of a level playing field. And, if you have a derivative, if you have a spot XRP ETF or a spot Bitcoin ETF, that you actually have the Bitcoin that you claim you do. And that's what we need to fix in this new system. But without further ado, we got a lot to cover in this update, so I'm going to roll through it pretty quick. Hope everyone's having a great Friday and the markets are back up. As I reported, this is your Bitcoin back up to 37,350. Big pump. And remember, yesterday we went all the way up to basically 38,000 for our Bitcoin. Ethereum doing the same thing, back up here once again, hanging out above 2,000 now for your Ethereum. Little bit of a rally. XRP chilling back up here. This is your 4-hour chart, by the way. XRP back up here on this 4-hour candle. But yesterday we did get pulled all the way back down to about 61.8. The 618 for XRP. We'll be watching this one closely, though, because it's following closely here with Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of stealing the show. Back up, big, massive candles, okay? But what we're seeing right now is the DXY went back up along with your 2-year and along with your 10-year yesterday. And this is off of the news that we got here in this article. Today at 1 p.m. Eastern, and this was yesterday, this happened yesterday. Today at 1 p.m. Eastern, the entire stock market turned lower. What happened? The 30-year bond auction drew 4.77%, which was above the pre-sale numbers by about 5 basis points. In other words, the auction performed far worse than expected as inflation worried persisted. This was perceived as a sign that inflation expectations are still elevated over the long term. Furthermore, this seems to be yet another sign that higher for longer is the new normal. Bond markets continue to drive everything. And it just so happened to be a random coincidence, of course, that we have a ransomware attack on the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, which they're saying and using as an excuse for disrupting the U.S. Treasury market. Here's the truth. Nobody wants that crap. Nobody wants to lend the U.S. government anymore, and that's the problem that we now see with, and that's what sent these 2 years and your 10-year both going crazy back up to 5%. You can see this morning we started out with a red candle, but we've quickly recovered back to that 5% level, and then right here for your 10-year, you're back up to 4.6. And so this thing went all the way back up to about 465 yesterday, and we're going to continue to watch it. Now, oil climbing back up and recovering from where it got cleaned out down to about $80 for your your oil. That's starting to climb back up. And then we're seeing that silver is getting hit along with gold getting hit. Back down to 1938 for your gold, 2232 for your silver. Stocks back up here today. Nvidia back up. S&P 500 chilling out here just below that 4,400 level, and your Dow kind of hanging out sideways here again too. I mean, those charts are basically the same. Right? Overall cryptocurrency market cap back up and climbing as Bitcoin and Ethereum are hyped, and the whole crypto markets is hype after we watch the BlackRock, the big boys and girls are coming for this space. And this is all done by design. They wanted to hold back the space, give time for the incumbents to get all their ducks in a row. Let's let BlackRock file their Ethereum trust in Delaware, which was the news that came out yesterday morning. And I reported, and I said, guys, this is the precursor. They're going to file the Ethereum ETF. And sure enough, later that day, yesterday, it did come out that they've officially filed for an Ethereum spot ETF. So this has everyone super excited, but How do you think I feel about this? We've been getting pumped by the BlackRock, and we've been seeing them rally this thing up here all the way to 30K. That wasn't enough. They took it all the way to 35, and now we just top out about 38,000 for Bitcoin, an incredible run up. And I don't know how much this is off the bottom. I mean, this is really a major move for Bitcoin. If I zoom out here real quick on the chart, just to show you guys a little perspective on how much Bitcoin has rallied. Let's take a look at this thing. This is from the bottom of the November lows when we went all the way down to 15,000. Let's take a look here. All the way down to about 15.5. And we've done 144% this bear market. What an incredible bull trap rally. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the beginning of the next bull run. I'm all here for it, but I'm remaining patient because of news articles that I'm about to show you. Check out these next few. This is from Bitfinex. Institutionalized investors allegedly send another $1 billion to a criminal organization that launders money for terrorist organizations that has been repeatedly caught lying about the reserves and targeted by Senator Loomis, with letter to the U.S. Attorney General asking the DOJ to prosecute Tether and former CIA officer co-signing a bill that explicitly cites the Bitfinex Tether fraud as a national security threat to buy Bitcoin, instead of just buying Bitcoin directly for dollars. And so we see another, what is this? 100,000 million billion. So we see another billion Tether printed at their treasury. That was just yesterday. And sure enough, we're pumping here once again. This is nothing new for us. We've been calling out this manipulation. And now you see Representative Abigail Spanberger as a former CIA case officer. I know the, oh boy, I can't say this country, can I? I know the Chinese Communist Party's investment in state-controlled blockchain poses serious national security risk. That's why I'm proud to join Zach Nunn in leading a bipartisan bill to keep Americans' data out of the hands of our adversaries. And so this is a bill that they've proposed to basically ban the government from using any sort of, blockchain technology, data, AI that's coming out of this country. And this is going to bring, some serious questions around where is Bitcoin being mined at. Obviously, we know that the country did ban mining of Bitcoin. I wonder if they actually did shut down all those miners, or if they're still got some low-key operations like they do with their gold, right? They say, oh yeah, we don't care about gold. Meanwhile, they're hiding how much they're actually producing, how much they're actually importing, and so well, you know how that deal goes. But once again, this is now hitting mainstream Congress, politicians coming out, and they're saying this is a serious threat. Well, why haven't you issued a dang subpoena for Gary Gensler yet, who's launched an attack against companies in America that are trying to be transparent and do the right thing, like Ripple? Why haven't we subpoenaed him yet? And so this is from Senator Loomis. I'm going to play just a little minute of this. You can listen. This rhetoric that is coming out against Tether, Bitfinex, I mean, all of this. And Senator Loomis, she's a big Bitcoin fan. I hope that she knows, for the sake of her Bitcoin holdings, if she has any, what's going to happen to Bitcoin if they do pop that Tether bubble. But nonetheless, let's listen in here on the rhetoric that's coming out of the DC stage. Senator Loomis.
It is also well known that Tether is a favored on and off ramp for illicit activities to interact with crypto.
No, and for Bitcoin too. You better watch what tree you're barking up here, Senator Loomis, because your Bitcoin's going to be in trouble. But I'll let you speak.
Asset markets, and is knowingly facilitating violations of the law. It was recently reported that Israeli law enforcement directed Tether to freeze 32 addresses controlled by Hamas and Russian-linked entities in Israel and Ukraine. Tether is failing to conduct adequate consumer and customer due diligence and screening, despite being aware that its product is used to facilitate terrorism and other illicit activities. That's why today I sent a letter with Representative French Hill, who's the chairman of the House Digital Assets Subcommittee, to Attorney General Merrick Garland, asking the Department of Justice to wrap up its investigation and consider criminal charges against Binance and Tether for their involvement in illicit finance.
See, it's not just Tether either, too. It's Binance as well. And this is going to be the problem here is you're seeing this rhetoric now. It's not just, oh, crypto's bad. We got Representative Brad Sherman being a moron up there talking about how it only is for bad illicit activity. This is Senator Loomis saying that it's not all bad, but we see clear problems here. And we're going to ask the Department of Justice to go on the attack. And this is where we need to be careful here. And it's going to have an impact on XRP too. I just understand that, and I'm well aware of that. And as many in the XRP community, we're all here for it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Blow up Tether if Tether has to be blown up. If Binance needs to be in trouble, okay, fine. There's a lot of laws already on the book for fraud and misuse of funds. Like, that's already there. And Brad Linehouse talks about this all the time. They try to say that there's not rules and regulations around this. No, he's having to comply with all sorts of regulatory bodies in every single jurisdiction. It's just outside the US, it's clear. You go to this, regulator, you go to this group, you sign off here, you file this application, and you're good to go. You get your money service business. You got a license for doing digital asset payments, whatever it may be. But this is the rhetoric that's going to be putting the crypto space in some big, big trouble. And I think that we see the BlackRock news here today. We're getting really excited. We forget that the Biden administration just asked for new powers to come strike down the cryptocurrency space. So they're coming. You have both sides of the aisle, not just the White House, not just left, not just right, not just Elizabeth, I got a plan for that, Warren, not just Brad, shill for the banker Sherman. You have Senator Loomis, too, who is a fan of crypto, who's saying, go kill Binance and go kill Tether. That's going to give us some ripple effects for sure. Now, speaking of some situations that are not good, a Poloniex hot wallet was emptied for 3.1 million XRP about 30 minutes ago. This happened at the same time as the incident on other chains, including Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Tron. We have flagged the accounts involved and are following the money. And I think the report, it's like over $100 million worth of crypto was taken off of this platform. And of course, you have one of the usual little guys behind it, Justin Sun. We are currently investigating the Poloniex hack. Poloniex maintains a healthy financial position and will fully reimburse the affected funds. Additionally, we are exploring opportunities for collaboration with other exchanges to facilitate the recovery of these funds. And the famous last words of all of these exchanges, right, is that we maintain a healthy position and will fully reimburse everyone. Yeah, that was literally the tweet that Sam Bankman-Fried put out too the day before his whole, story came falling apart. And I want to show you guys real quick, it perfectly exemplifies how the game is played and how they are suckering in all these Bitcoin and crypto bros right now into thinking that this is the next pump. And meanwhile, what are they doing behind the scenes? I'll show you. BlackRock insider trading alert. This is always the case. I've been telling you guys, don't get excited about the BlackRock fake out narrative. BlackRock chairman and CEO Larry Fink dumped 15,000 shares this week, just over $10 million. Now, very small amount compared to his overall holdings. But the point remains, we saw this all over the last 2 years, where basically a company would come out and say, oh yeah, we've added, Bitcoin to our balance sheet. Or they would say, we're interested in NFTs, and their stock would pump. And you're seeing it with AI. Oh, we're going to leverage AI. They have no idea how they're going to leverage AI. They just throw it out. Stock go up. 1 + 1 = 2. It's very, very simple how this game is played. And so they come on, they talk their book. Larry Fink comes on and says that traditional, currencies are going to be transcended by cryptocurrencies, and his stocks goes up, and then he can dump. Now, I wish I was making this up, but of course, the crypto bros, the Bitcoin bros, they're coming out today and they're saying that he's dumping his shares of BlackRock so that he can go buy Bitcoin. Yeah, okay, sure. We'll roll with that. And so I share all that, all the crazy chaos that's happening in the crypto space. You got Congress coming after for kill shots, Operation Choke Point by the SEC. Joe Biden would like some new abilities to come down on the crypto space too. And so look out. On the other side of the story here, on the other side of the coin, we have the most industry-leading transparent company working with governments and regulators, central banks around the world. And you see a completely different story that's being shared over here. Ripple once again hosting another incredible annual conference at Swell. And I just want to show you a couple more points here before we get an update on the case as well. Ripple's annual CBDC Innovate competition saw another great year of success, with this year's grand prize winners driving CBDC innovation and adoption through financial inclusion, sustainability, cross-border payments, and more. So on the other side here, we got straight business. And we know every government around the world is basically looking at rolling out their CBDC. And so this is Ripple leading the industry, leading the way. And they say intention turns into action, and action turns into building collaboration and partners. Naveen Gupta shares how Ripple Swell in Dubai brings people together to drive crypto innovation. Let's listen in here real quick.
So for me, it's very simple. The reason Silicon Valley happened was they were entrepreneurs, there was venture capital that was available, and the regulation was out of the way. Exactly the same thing is happening in Dubai for crypto. This is where magic on crypto is happening, and that's the reason we are here. So with thousands of these conversations that are happening here over these 2 days, they will get converted into intention, and intention into action. And action will be partnerships, people building newer companies, people collaborating with each other, selling to each other, getting licensed. So it will launch into multiple streams for each company and each participant that is here. And that's what Ripple is here for, to enable that ecosystem to succeed.
Now, if you're watching this video after the fact and that last clip wasn't played, that's because the music that they used was copyrighted, but hopefully that was clean. The point, though, being that, once again, this is going to lead to collaboration and partnerships with all of the real players in the industry. And if Ripple has to expand, 80% of their hiring is going to be outside the US. If they have to IPO outside the US, they can. There's plenty of options, and there is going to be no stopping Ripple. And as I said, this thing's starting to swing around. I'm going to play a clip in a separate video that's going to be dropping here later today with Brad Garlinghouse on CNBC, and just talking about how the SEC's been put in check and how they've, now put themselves to be the leader, and how I believe they're going to be the darling of the cryptocurrency space as viewed upon by Wall Street, as soon as Wall Street's actually ready to start coming in, and they're not scared to work with Ripple and XRP as well. And now here soon, this is what we're looking to break through so that folks can actually feel safe using XRP and Ripple. The parties have submitted to Judge Torres a proposed schedule regarding remedies, discovery, and briefing. So this thing, we're finally coming to the end. We got the timeline, and this is for the institutional sales that Judge Torres did rule was a security. It's about $770 million worth. We'll see how much the SEC is able to get from Judge Torres in her ruling. But Fred Rispoli shared this. He says, "This is all tea leaf reading, but to me, this letter does not have the acerbic tone of most of the previous ones. The parties even agreed on some things. I continue to believe this case is closer to resolution than SEC is projecting." And I would also add that Brad Garlinghouse and Team Ripple is projecting, right? Because that's all part of the negotiations. That's all part of the art of the deal, is to say, yeah, we can go IPO outside. 80% of our hiring is happening outside the US. Part of the posturing is Brad Garlinghouse literally taking main stage at DC FinTech Week just 3 hours before Gary Gensler was set to come on. And boy, did Gary look like a ghost up on stage. Meanwhile, Brad looks full of life, looks better than ever. Always representing us in such a classy way. But to bring this final point home, how can Gary Gensler approve a Bitcoin spot ETF when we don't know who created Bitcoin? We don't know where the Bitcoin came from. And how does that relate? Why is that important? Well, as you know, they're trying to push this EGE or ESG regulations where, an investment firm, a company is going to have to be able to track, their carbon credits. They're going to have to be able to track how much they're producing and what their ESG score is. And if you can't show where the Bitcoin came from, and if the Bitcoin is coming from a mining operation that is not clean energy, you might be in trouble. Now, that might be a stretch. Maybe they don't get that far. I hope to God that they don't, because the ESG regulations that they're trying to push will be so burdensome to industry and businesses here back at home. It'll be so bad. But this is what they're trying to do, right? This won't stop them. They have no shame. And they're coming after us for ESG, acting like they're here to save the world, as always. And so how do you approve a Bitcoin spot ETF with that considered? How do you approve an Ethereum spot ETF when you can't come on stage and say whether or not Ethereum is a security in and of itself? How do you approve that? Because the approval process is all about making sure that whoever is issuing this ETF can provide the proper disclosures. Remember, Gary Gensler, he's all about the disclosures when he does his little dance squirming in his suit up there, right? Because he really wants to protect investors. So how do you have proper disclosures when you can't say whether or not Ethereum is a security, right? Now, does this stop Bitcoin and Ethereum from ever having a spot ETF? No, it is inevitable. I'm just saying that there's a couple things here. They're going to be backed into the corner, which I'm all here for it. But if you got an application today for an XRP ETF, and I tweeted out at Michael Arrington yesterday. I said, hey, Michael, quick question. When XRP spot ETF? Because if you recall, Arrington Capital, they have an XRP, XRP fund that they created a long time ago, right? And so you get a guy like that who could just say, hey, we're going to register this as a trust and we're looking to file a spot ETF. We know who created it. We know where it comes from. We know that it uses basically no energy, right? And we now know that it has legal clarity that in and of itself, it's not a security. So I think that you would have a better chance of getting a XRP spot ETF approved than you would an Ethereum one for sure. And maybe even a Bitcoin one too. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. And I wanted to say this final point. Yes, it'll lead to manipulation, but as I said at the very beginning, we move to a new transparent system as this goes all on blockchain, where you will be able to track on chain, on DLT technology through chips and QR codes, and the whole new standard for custody solutions. You'll be able to track if you have an XRP ETF fund that's supposed to represent 1 billion XRP in it, or whatever the claim is, it'll have it. You'll be able to track it. When you have, if you want to issue gold, silver, any other commodity on the XRPL, you'll be able to do so in a way where you can show that you have it. And I think when it comes to these ETF filings and the overall industry, they want it all to flow into this space. They don't want you to own XRP in your wallet. They want you to own XRP in their 401k retirement account program for you. And that's why we're trying to break free from that. We're trying to exit that. We're focusing on how do we make it, how do we protect it, and how do we multiply it. And so we've been dropping tactical wealth lessons. We got our business development content. We got our real estate asset content. And we are going to be dominating here as the cryptocurrency bull run begins. And XRP is ready to lead the way. You got some other cryptos too, just like I do. But I am so excited for this opportunity for XRP to take the lead. I think that you would have a better chance of getting a spot XRP ETF approved. But maybe I'm just a crazy XRP guy. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. And make sure you guys are subscribed. Stay tuned because we got another video dropping here later today. I'll see you guys in the next one. I appreciate all the support. God bless you all.